This morning I wrote a couple of posts regarding livestock we're in, and there were a few points on there that I just wanted to reiterate in video form, because I appreciate that not everybody reads everything, certainly if there's any length that's written on social media. And the first thing, I make no apology for constantly going on about either remote training collars or livestock worrying. The two go hand in glove. You know, it is, certainly by far and away not the only use for a remote training collar. They can be used in tremendous ways, in different contexts, but that's not what I want to talk about at the moment. I want to talk about livestock worrying and the way that this is unnecessarily and disgustingly increasing. That shouldn't be happening. There are no excuses for that happening. I think one of the biggest problems is that all the work that's being done to try and look to address livestock worrying at the moment looks at one part of what basically is a twofold issue, and that is the ability of the dog to be able to chase the sheep. So people accept that, yeah, dogs are opportunistic predators. You present a prey article before them and the dog will try and chase it, so keep it on a lead and the dog won't chase it. And there's sound advice, you can't argue with it, absolutely. Anybody with anything like a brain cell sat resting between their two ears will agree with that. That's not a problem. But what it is that in itself, this lead that she's on here, or that your dog is on, or that anybody's dog is on, that is out and about in a situation where there are stock or liable to be stock, the problem is that there will come a time when that lead is off. Whether you intend it to or not, there will come a time when that lead is off. And if you have a dog where you are basically just managing or preventing the dog's ability to be able to chase livestock, then you're playing with fire, because at some point the dog is going to find an out and the dog will do it. Most dogs, I'm not going to say all, I'm going to say most dogs. Certainly if you've got a dog with a decent prey drive, a dog that's been bred for specific purposes but has found itself in a pet home, contrary to its genetic predisposition, and that dog is looking for an out, it's looking for an opportunity to release that prey drive, that predatory sequence that all dogs have, but not all dogs realise. Okay, so it's truncated, it's shortened in some dogs as opposed to others, depending on what the dog's bred for. But the thing that everything focuses on is keep the dog on a lead, stick to footpaths, check the fields to see if there's anything inside of it, read the signs and things like that. Absolutely. And we've been doing that for decades and the figures are still going up. So to my mind, the other side of the coin that you need to look at is the desire. You have to look at the fact that the major problem here isn't the fact that the dog has managed to get off its lead, or the dog has managed to get out of its garden, or it's got out of its car boot before you had a chance to put a lead onto it. The fact is, what does the dog want to do then? And if the thing that the dog wants to do then is release that predatory sequence, release that, that chase pattern of behaviour towards that specific target, that those livestock, that is where the problem lies, because that is absolutely addressable. You can stop it. You can have the dog escape your garden, or you can have the dog, you drop your lead, or the lead breaks, or one of the children has got it, or somebody who's elderly or infirm has hold of the dog, or whatever the reason is that the dog manages to get free from a lead. You can have that dog choose not to perform that behaviour that is going to put the life of itself or other animals and the livelihoods of innocent people who are trying to make a living at risk. And I can't understand, this is where the remote collars come in, obviously. When you work with a remote collar proportionately and compassionately in a necessary context, that you absolutely change the dog's mindset towards chasing livestock. And then you can still do all of the management, all of the common sense stuff still applies. Do you know what I mean? This isn't a sort of like, abdication of any sort of responsibility. It's not an outlet. It's not a get out of jail card. It's a belt and braces. It's attacking both sides of it. So it's management, it's education, it's keeping the dog on a lead, it's sticking to footpaths, but it's knowing that should your dog, for whatever reason, find itself in a situation, whether you're to blame or otherwise, that rather than you standing there with your head in your hands, wondering what the hell am I going to do as you see it tearing towards a flock of whatever, that instead your dog isn't going to do that because it has learned as a consequence of its own action on previous occasions that it isn't worth it. And that's incredibly important, incredibly important. I wanted to get that point put across. It is two sides. It is a two-sided problem. It is the ability to perform the behaviour, and it is the desire to want to do it. Both sides of this problem need to be addressed. Thank you.